Hey everyone, got another video for you today here. Today I'm going to be tying two of my kind of favorite, most productive streamer patterns I use. And then at the end of this video, I'm going to throw in some footage I got yesterday when I was out fishing. Didn't get a whole lot on film yesterday. It's, kind of spotty. The action's wintertime. I've kind of been targeting bigger fish lately so that, I'm fishing streamers a lot to try and pick out those larger fish. And it's just hard to get stuff on film because the action's not super consistent. But I did get two nicer ones on film yesterday. Didn't get any of the ones I lost. I missed a few pretty big ones yesterday. But today I'm gonna tie two of my patterns. One of them actually caught one of the fish yesterday, so it'll be cool to kind of see that pattern in action. But for my streamers, I like to fish very simple, easy to tie streamers because a lot of the times the fish I'm targeting are tight in cover and you have to be within inches to really entice them to even move. So you tend to lose a lot of flies. So I like to tie flies I don't mind losing. So this is my streamer box. As you can see, it's only really 4 patterns I carry. I've got, this variation here in 2 different colors, olive and black. I like the black a little bit better though. So I'll tie the black version of this kind of jig today. And then I'll also be tying the Crelex variation I have for you today. And I also carry these articulated kind of laser legals that I tie to look like kind of baby juvenile brown trout, and they do pretty well as well. So we'll start with the black one here. So to start off, I have just a size 8, 3x long jig hook here, and a pretty heavy bead, either a 4/6 or even a 5/0. This might be a 5/0 in this case. It's a simple pattern, 2 materials, simply black rabbit strip. This is a standard size I'm gonna tie today. I also tie them with the Magnum size if I want a bigger fly. And then some kind of dubbing. This is the Senyos Black Laser Dub. I like this. I also like the Fly Fish Food Bruiser Blend. That works just as well. And for thread, I'm just gonna use black thread. So I have prepared a piece of rabbit strip already where the hide is about 2 hook shanks in length. That's kind of how I measure it. So to get started, we'll go ahead and get our thread on the hook here. This is Veevus GSP 100 and just black. So I'll just thread that on there. Cut off my excess. And I'm gonna actually tie part of the underbody first before I put my zonker on the hook. I just find it makes it a little bit easier. It doesn't get in the way as much. So I'll just wrap that thread back to about the start of the hook, or start of the hook bend, so it dangles about where the barb would be. And the technique I'm going to use for tying in this dubbing underbody is kind of the same technique that if you watch Gunnar Brammer, he uses this a lot when he ties in SF blend for underbodies. But I'm going to take the laser dubbing in a clump like this, and I've kind of ran it through my fingers to align the fibers. And I think the fibers as they come are a bit long for a fly this size, so I usually rip them in half and then double them back over. So I end up with a, clump like this. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this clump and lay it at the midpoint at kind of a 45-degree to the hook shank. And then I'll do some wraps to secure that in. So I kind of end up with that. And then the one that's kind of pointing forward, I'll take it and fold it backwards and then kind of wrap back over it to secure it. And then I'll go forward a little bit, and then I'll kind of pick out some of the excess here, put that on the thread there, and then kind of fill in with dubbing a little bit. So now I've kind of worked up to about the half point. You can see there's our start of our body there. And grab a similar size clump and do the same thing. So I'll line those fibers, rip them in half, try and align them again. Take that clump, lay it on there, do a couple wraps to secure it, take that other leg and fold it back, and wrap over that, and kind of stroke through to pull out any fibers. And then I'll add some dubbing. just to fill that in. All right, so at this point, you can see now we have the back part of that underbody. And the reason I do that first is because with that zonker kind of already pierced on the hook, it gets in the way a little bit. So at this point, we're far enough forward where that's not an issue. So I'll just throw, you know, one finish on there just to hold it in place. Now it's time to put our zonker on the hook. So I measure for where I'm going to pierce it through the hook. And I like it so that the front of it ends up just behind the bead, so we can tie it in nicely later. And I'll kind of measure back where I need to puncture it through the hook. So I got that measurement here. I'll transfer it, and then I'll take this and pierce it right through the hook there. And get that kind of rolled up into position. Resecure the hook in the vise. And there we go. So I'm going to turn it upside down. It helps to have a rotating vise for this. I'm going to take this zonker here, pull it up to where it needs to be, and then get it ready to tie in. So I'm going to come right behind that bead there and secure that down. Just like that. Now you see there's a little bit of excess hide there. I'm going to just trim close. Just to get rid of that. All right, now we just got to finish the front of this fly. So to do that, it's going to be the same thing, more of those dubbing clumps. So I'll do the underside first. So I'm going to come in here and just clean up the tie-in point a little bit. All right. And we're going to take a little bit bigger of a clump just so I can build a little bit of a taper. I'm going to take a bit more for this one, but same thing. Align everything. Rip the fibers in half. And then get those tied in. And then push those back. All right, so that's the underside of the fly done. I'll just take some excess dubbing and fill in there. And if I rotate over now, you can see there's a bit of an empty spot behind the bead. So I'll do on the top side now the same thing. Grab a clump, align the fibers, break them in half, and then tie those in the same way. And finish off the fly with some thread base behind the bead to really seat it. Take a little bit extra dubbing and fill it in. And then a whip finish and you're done. All right, so at this point you can also then go ahead and put some resin on that whip finish as well if you want. I'll also usually take Velcro and kind of brush all that dubbing out. But that's it. It's a simple black jig streamer. Works really well for me. Tie one up and give it a shot and see if you find the same success. I think you will. So that's that one done. So now I'll move into tying the second one I'm going to show you today. And that is my Krelex variation. So I'm going to do the same thing, same size hook and bead and everything. Get that set in the vise. And this fly is actually even simpler as far as materials go. There's only one material. It's kind of the secret ingredient. That's this stuff here. This is Polar Flash. And I've tried other colors, but I found the gold actually works the best, it seems. So that's the one material for this fly. So to get started, I'm just get my thread started on the hook here, just like that. Trim off the excess there. I'm gonna wrap my thread back to about the start of the hook bend. Have it right there. And so for the material here, I find that grabbing about pencil in diameter tends to work really well and give you a nice full body without being too thick, because you do still want some movement. So I'll grab my clump there, full fibers like that, and then I'll measure out for a tail. I like the tail to be maybe a little bit more than a hook shank. So I'll take that measurement and lay the material on the hook here and just do a few loose wraps to secure it. And then I'll start to cinch it down with the next couple, building a neat little tie-in point there. And now for the tail, I like to then take the excess and double it back over itself, and then really cinch that in and wrap back over it. And then I'll come forward. And I'll come back and trim those all about even. So you can see we're left with a nice tail there. And so next one I'm gonna do is I wrap my thread up to about the midpoint of the shank. I'm gonna take those fibers again, lay another section in, overlapping the tail about 50%. I'm gonna go ahead and tie those in, doing the same technique, a few loose wraps to secure everything, and then cinch it down tight with a few more. Pull the excess fibers up, snip them off close, flip the fly upside down, come back and do the same thing on the underside. Again, 50% overlap, a few loose wraps, and then start to cinch down to really secure it. And then pull up, get rid of that excess. And you can see we're starting to build this kind of tapered, blended body here. So now I'll clean up that tie-in point a little bit and wrap up to just behind the bead. Just like that. All right, and so for this last section at the head here, I like to build a taper, where it's thicker at the front. So I'll take my remaining, section here and double it over in half. And then trim that. And you can see we're left with a section that's twice as thick. And it's about the perfect length here too, where one of these clumps that you grab off the bundle will do a whole fly. So now I'll come up to the front here, do the same rule as before, about a 50% overlap, and tie that section in. So a few loose wraps, and then pull tight to cinch it in, and then build a little bit of a thread collar. And take our excess, gather it all, snip it off as close as we can, flip the fly over, do the same thing as about a 50% overlap. Do a couple loose wraps to secure everything in, and then cinch it tight. And then we're got everything tied in at this point. So now it's just cleaning up the head and building a little thread base. And I will tie these with red thread as well. And I find that kind of makes it look like gills at the front a little bit. So those also work really well. But I'm just going to build a kind of a thread base here just to clean everything up. Now what's left is a couple whip finishes. Cinch that tight, and that's it. So that's the Krelex variation. So these two flies, these two streamers did really well for me. Caught me a lot of big fish in my kind of quest for, I'm looking to catch a 24-inch trout at the moment, and been really trying to work towards that. But I've caught a lot of, 18 to 22s in the quest for that, and these flies have been a majority of those fish. So I'll just finish off here, put a little bit of resin on that thread base there, just to lock it in. That's the complete fly. So those are the two most productive streamers I'd say I use. So give them a try and see how they work. So I'll leave you guys with just that footage from yesterday. Two nicer fish I got. One of them was on the black streamer I just showed you. So enjoy that footage and good luck out there. Thanks for watching. If I'm rolling, guys, just like that. I got a nice fish on here sitting in that pocket, just like I thought one would be. It was actually at the end of my drift, my fly was swinging up, and I just had my nymphs below me in the water, and this guy hit. Feels like a pretty good one. We'll get him up here and see. Oh yeah, it's a pretty nice fish. Keeping my rod low. Good side pressure to pull him out of that current. I got this tree above me though, so I'm in a bad spot to really land him. I'm gonna try and get him into this soft stuff next to me here. All right, now we got him. I think we got him here. And there we go. He ate that big stone fly right there. Nice fish. I'm gonna actually get a photo of him. He might be, he's probably 18 or 19 if I had to guess. Nice fish. All right, just released that last fish there. He was about 19, got a measurement on him. He took that big stone fly on the bottom. My fly, I cast it up in this fast stuff here, and was letting it drift down into that pocket, kind of where it slows down out there. I was talking about, I knew there'd be a fish in there, and I was actually about to take a step upstream, and my flies were kind of just swinging up, and that's when he hit. And kind of a bad spot to land him. I don't know if you can see that tree, right up there. My rod was kind of up in it, so when I was trying to pull the fish to my net, so tricky spot to land it, but we got him in, kind of in this slow pocket on the inside here. Got him landed, so I'm gonna keep working upstream and see what else we can find. All right, here we're coming up on another good area. It's got good depth, speed. There's some cover. I want to be sure to, just like that, there's a good fish. Man, he hit like as soon as that fly hit the water. This is a pretty good one here. This is on that streamer. We'll get him in. Get him above me. Get my rod real low to try and pull this fish up. All right, there's a good one in the net. Well, he might be a tad bigger than that last one we got. We'll get a measurement on him. He could be 20. He's got a heron streak on his head there. But boy, beautiful colors on him. Look at that. Let me get a photo of him.